No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done, Paul. I was wondering. Oh, I didn't know.
live. Hello, YouTube. You are... I was going to
Hi,
say you're
YouTube.
very welcome, but I guess you're welcome to this week's recording of the talk show for talkers here on irishtalkers.com. Why did we say here on irishtalkers.com? We're not here, are we? We're there. No, I'm being pedantic again, as I always am. Anyway, you're very welcome. We're just about to start recording. I think I am ready to go. Are you ready, Teddy?
I'm ready, steady, ready to go, Myra.
Okay, let's do the necessary clicks. And 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, Toastmasters, would-be Toastmasters, listeners and friends. You're very welcome to the talk show for talkers on irishtalkers.com. Our email address is info@irishtalkers.com. You can find us on Facebook as the talk show for talkers. And we look forward to your comments, your questions, feedback, and indeed we regard these as your evaluations. We need you to stay in touch with us. You can also listen to previous shows on our website, irishtalkers.com. We also publish the Public Speaking Weekly, and this is a roundup of links from the internet. It's all about Toastmasters. It's about public speaking, confidence, leadership. So look out for the newspaper link on our website. My name is Ted Malamphy, and I'm joined again this week by the prolific, persuasive, passionate Paul O'Malley.
Listeners, thank you very much for listening. If you're a very first-time listener, let me tell you, he's always like that.
And thank you, Paul, for that. I take that as a compliment. And on today's show, we will have a word of the week. We will have a thought for the week, particularly a thought that will be relevant with all the other thoughts that are floating around in the world at this particular time. So I'm going to give you my thought for the week right away. And this is given to us by somebody who would have been very prominent in the 60s and 70s, particularly in America. Well, he was nearly regarded as the voice of America. He was certainly, I remember there was a poll about him, and he was regarded as the most truthful person to listen to in America. So I thought that was an interesting one. War itself is, of course, a form of madness. It's hardly a civilized pursuit. It's amazing how we spend so much time inventing devices to kill each other, and so little time working on how to achieve peace. I'm going to read that again. War itself is, of course, a form of madness. It's hardly a civilized pursuit. It's amazing how we spend so much time inventing devices to kill each other, and so little time working on how to achieve peace. And that was given to us by the late, great Walter Cronkite. What would you think of that, Paul? And that was sometime in the 70s. And he was one of these correspondents on CS or CBS. He was the man actually who delivered to America the time when John F. Kennedy was assassinated. He was also a man who let his feelings and thoughts be known on America's war in Vietnam. And some people say that because of some of the thoughts that he shared publicly, it may have been one of the things that persuaded President Johnson not to run for a second term. So what do you think of those very relevant words of Walter Cronkite, Paul, 50 years ago?
Ted, I can't get past his name because Walter Cronkite is somebody who means a lot to me as a young person, as a teenager, and even into my early 20s. I can hear Walter Cronkite's voice as we're talking about him. And well do I remember his words during the Vietnam War. And I don't remember him during the assassination of President Kennedy, but I do remember him in the late 60s and early 70s. The idea of war as madness, that's what this quotation is about. And contrasting that with how little time we spend working on inventing ways of achieving peace. Mm-hmm. The contrast of war and peace must be a theme that just about every one of our listeners have in the forefront of their mind in this week, during which, I mean, since we were last recorded this podcast, which was this day a week ago.
Yes.
On that day, there was, if you like, comparative peace in Europe. And now we have comparative war in Europe. So Walter Cronkite is a good person to visit us. And I'm saying to myself that, you know, there must be a resonance with that quotation. Many people must be saying, this is madness. How can a place you could go on your holidays,
yes,
a place you could fly to for the weekend with Ryanair and fly back again, how come a place like that could be in the state it's in? So I tell you what, Ted, I would like to talk a bit more with you about the situation that we're in right now, maybe in a future episode in the next couple of days. Would you be okay about us bringing, you know, Walter Cronkite is a bit like a catalyst for this whole topic, if you like. And I just am so full of concern for the members of Toastmasters in Kyiv, in Odessa, in other places, because I don't know where they are all living, to be honest.
In Ukraine, yeah.
It would be good to speak, and I feel almost like it's our duty on this podcast.
Yeah, particularly since it's all about Toastmasters. And I'm like you, Paul, with regards Walter Cronkite as a teenager and in my early 20s. I would always look on him as the first of the megastars from a journalistic point of view on TV. He was one of these first sort of superstars, and people used to listen to what he said because he was deemed there was some term actually in the 60s and 70s. There was some kind of a poll taken, and he was selected as the very top person to what was it? The most truthful man in America, or just words along that line anyway. Can't remember now exactly what it was. And how he resonates with us too. Well, with me anyway. He was born in 1916. And that has huge relevance for us in this country as well.
Well, let's move on then from our quote of the week to our vision for the week. Our vision for this week is undoubtedly involves a hope that things will get better. But let me ask you, listeners, who said this, that it was their vision to be the first choice provider of dynamic, high value, experiential communication and leadership skills development? Who said that, to be the first choice provider of dynamic, high value, experiential communication and leadership skills development?
Was it Ralph Medley?
Well, I'll tell you what, Ted, he may indeed have said it, but Toastmasters International has an envisaged future. It's on the Toastmasters International website. If you click on the About Us button and you go to Mission, you're going to find that Toastmasters International has an envisaged future. So I thought I'd bring the word envision, envisage. See, we have envisaged, envisioned. Oh dear, I'm falling over myself. We have envisaged and we have envisioned. Oh dear. Anyway, here's the word of the week. It's called envisage. 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 And when Toastmasters International has an envisioned future, the words are essentially the same. So to envisage, it's to think ahead and get a mental picture of a situation before it comes about. So my envisaged dinner tonight is hake with broccoli and a glass of wine, I imagine. So that is what I envisage will happen. I envisage that we'll increase our members in our club after this round of renewals and the next period of the year. We'll increase our membership by 10%. That's something I envisage. The word is handy to know because I suspect that those of you for whom English isn't your first language, and certainly me, since I can't pronounce it, go to the international our website, and you see the word envisioned. There, I got it right. Envisioned, as opposed to envisaged. And to be honest, I don't know the difference between the two. But to have a vision, Toastmasters International doesn't say this is our vision. It says this is our envisioned future. So there's a word which has existed. Oh yeah, Ted, do you want to guess? What century did the word first enter the English language?
Which one, envision or envisage?
Good question. Any one of them, Ted.
Okay.
Any one of them.
15th century.
Ah, you're really good. That means somewhere in the 1400s.
Does it?
You're very close to it. In fact, it was 1660 that the word envisage came into the English language. And it comes from, I've even got a bit of paper here with it on it. For YouTube watchers, you can see the
We
word.
can't see it now, Paul, because you have a virtual background. We can't see it.
Oh, well, never mind.
If you hold it up by your face there, no, that distance, we'll see it, all right?
Well, look, we're not.
Yeah, we can see that now, all right?
This is a podcast. So I've got this word here, and it comes from Latin. And it used to be, an unpopular word people used to like, but it's become pretty popular in the 20th century. So it is useful, a useful word to know, especially if you're discussing what's the Toastmasters vision. Well, we envisage that.
Well, that's a great way to finish episode 1 of the Talk Show for Talkers, Paul, and come back to us tomorrow because we have excerpts from one of the podcasts on the Toastmasters International website. And we'll share that with you and the thoughts of some very prominent Toastmasters. So we'll see you then. And Maury, the numbers that I gave you may not be exactly right. I gave you from about 7 minutes into 1929.
All right, Ted, they were exceedingly accurate.
Were they? Oh, that's good.
You were within seconds.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And it's all up and ready to run.
So do you want me to give an intro to it? So.
Yep.
And I'll just carry on with what I was just saying there about the fact that it's a Toastmasters podcast, so they can find it on the Toastmasters website because it goes on for an hour. If we wanted to, we could take another portion of that next week if we didn't have a guest.
Indeed. It's a very good podcast. I recommend it highly to anybody who wants to listen. I listened to the whole thing before we started the show.
Oh, good. It's a good podcast and very clear and no music or anything to disturb you in the background,
Indeed, indeed. Right, let me lose my background. I might just well put timer up. Should I be the timer? Let's be the timer.
Oh, that's lovely now, yeah.
Yeah. So, here we go. So, must expunge so from my memory. It's a useless word. So and, Ted.
Well, I think I had only one so now in the first episode there, Maurice, so that wasn't too bad.
To be honest
So
with
that's
you,
true, so sorry.
I wasn't listening out for it, Ted. I only listen out for it, generally speaking, when I do the editing. Otherwise, I drive myself mad.
Okay.
Okay. Where are we? Are we ready? Yes, we're ready. Okay, Ted. 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, Toastmasters, would-be Toastmasters listeners and friends. You're very welcome to the Talk Show for Talkers on irishtalkers.com. You are with us today on episode 2, and you will know, as we flagged yesterday, you are going to be listening to 4 Toastmasters, 3 of them being interviewed by the facilitator of this podcast, and the facilitator is Tammy Miller, who is herself a distinguished Toastmaster. And the 3 people she's going to be having conversations about, and it's all about public speaking and the relevance of public speaking to those of us who want to improve in that particular sphere. So the people she'll be speaking to are household names, really. You have Darren LaCroix, who's a world champion of public speaking. You have Ramona Smith, who has published a very good ebook on public speaking. And you also have Simon Bucknell, who was a runner-up in the World Championships of Public Speaking. So enjoy this, and we'll see what you felt about it at the end of this particular episode, and we want you to send back your comments, your evaluations, and things that stood out for you on this particular part of the Toastmasters International podcast.
Okay, Ted.
Thanks, Mara. Are we going to listen to it, or are we just going to go into episode 3?
12.5 minutes long, so it's...
How many is it?
It's quite long.
12 and a half, is it? Just 7?
Let's see. Yeah, exactly 12 and a half minutes.
Okay.
So it's up to you. Paul, do you want to listen to it?
No, I'm okay, actually.
Yeah, you can find it, Paul, anytime you want to go. Just go into the video library.
Yeah, that'll be good.
The link is on our website anyway.
And quote will be on our website as well, yeah.
Yeah, well, it will be. It's not at the moment. I forgot to put it in, but it's on the Anchor
okay.
website. Okay, Ted, you're going to do the outro then?
Yes, I will.
All right. Did I put that in? I did. Okay, Ted, 3, 2, 1, go.
I hope you all enjoyed that excerpt from one of the international or Toastmasters International podcasts. You had 3 very prominent Toastmasters. Well, you had 4 very prominent. I liked the bit when Ramona Smith came in. She said, I have an acronym, and that acronym is BIG. And it stands for body language. She forgot it herself. Body language, eye contact, and gestures. So there was a lovely tip. Come back to us tomorrow, because Paul O'Mahony will be speaking to us, and Paul is going to be speaking about something very relevant in this particular week. He's going to be speaking about our Toastmaster friends in the Ukraine. So see you tomorrow.
You may notice I put a note in the chat, which
I didn't notice that. No, Mara, sorry.
Responded to. Maybe leave out other conflict areas I don't have any knowledge about and like to keep. Okay, fair enough. I just thought you have, for example, Lebanon. I know that the clubs in Lebanon have had great difficulty, mainly because their currency
that's right.
become very expensive for them. So I thought it might be worthwhile to touch upon other areas as well, because we had Toastmasters.
I actually think that's a distraction in this week. It would be a good idea if we,
concentrate on Ukraine. Yeah.
Okay. No worries. I mean, that's fine. absolutely fine. All right, just bear with me a sec. Let's go there. 5. Episode 2. Oh, we can't do that. Why has it done that? Oh. Okay.
And that's fantastic, Paul, that you were on to people in Ukraine. Or did you actually speak to them, or did you just email them, or what?
No, I've been in touch with them via a mixture of things.
Okay.
The district has a Facebook page, and I've had interaction with the district director there, a small amount of interaction.
Right.
Secondly, I've had contact via Facebook Messenger.
Okay.
With the division director.
In Ukraine?
In Ukraine, yeah.
That's incredible. Is it possible now that all that communication will be clamped down on if they knock out the communication towers?
Well, they still have internet in the places that I've been in touch.
Okay,
so if they didn't have internet, there wouldn't be any.
Yes, that's what I mean. Can the internet be cut off now and stuff like that?
Oh, it could be cut off, all right.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
In fact, countries can cut off access to the internet. They can cut it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the country wouldn't want to cut it off. The fellow coming in to try and take over the country will want to cut it off.
Yes,
well,
indeed.
all of that is, yeah.
Okay, let's go for it.
Okay.
So
I'll call Paul in. So
3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, Toastmasters, would-be Toastmasters listeners and friends. You're very welcome to episode 3 of this week's talk show for talkers on irishtalkers.com. We are going to be speaking, or at least Paul is going to be speaking to us about something that's very relevant, and it's our friends, our Toastmaster friends and their families, and all in Ukraine, about our Toastmaster friends in Ukraine. So it's over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Ted. I found it very hard to think about anything else this last week other than the 160 odd members of Toastmasters International in the Ukraine, and spent an awful lot of time wondering what on earth is life like for them. And as we speak here, recording this on the Thursday after the invasion, I think the invasion happened on Saturday, perhaps it was Friday, I can't remember, but we've had a week in which the main thing that's been happening has been that the people in Kyiv and the people in Odessa have been closer and closer to enormous danger. Now, there where our clubs are in those two places, we have 9 Toastmasters clubs in the Ukraine. We have, I think, at best I've been able to find out, about 160 members. And what's been on my mind has been 2 things. One is that some of the people in Ukraine, and that this must include at least some of our members, are now refugees, and women and children have gone over the border into Poland, Moldova, Romania, and other places. And that could mean that of our 160 members, a goodly number of whom must be women, a goodly number of them could be refugees as we're speaking. And that's, leaving your home, your family, your extended family. Many may have elderly relatives, and all of which is very hard, I've found, to imagine. And the other side to it then is that all the men between the ages of, I think, about 16 and 55 in Ukraine are essentially in the army. and they're not allowed to leave the country. I don't even know if any men are allowed to leave the country, but some of our members may be, well, let's say maybe fighting for their lives and livelihoods and way of life. And, I joined Toastmasters in 2015, and this invasion of Ukraine has been the first time, apart from thinking a bit, and we've talked about this in the podcast before, about the position in the Lebanon, but apart from that, this is an enormous thing. And I know that our international director in Region 10, and we and the Ukraine are both in Region 10, Elizabeth Nosted, she will have been doing something in relation to the situation. She has to, part of her job has to be to have care for it. I know Elizabeth a little bit. Our regional advisor, Francesco Fidele, I know and have had contacts on WhatsApp with, so he will also be involved. And in the time, in the week that there has been, I have got to know a little bit through her or he, through the writings of Callan Gilia, who is the district director of District 110. And what I'd like to do is to read you a message which the district director put on their Facebook group. I joined their Facebook group during the week, and I'm looking now, just getting hold of it.
And what we also have to be conscious of, Paul, is
Moira, I'm looking for this group on my iPhone. I'll be with you in a second. God.
What exactly are you looking for, Paul?
I'm looking for the District 110 Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
Which I'm a member of. I will have it in 1 second.
Wild East of Europe.
Okay, you can call me back in. Yeah, right.
I have it.
You can call me back in. I have it here.
Yep.
And this is
hold.
Oh, yeah. This is the message which a day ago, that would be Wednesday, the district director sent to Toastmasters in District 110 and Toastmasters around the world. I'll quote from it. Yesterday, we had the monthly core team meeting, and together we decided on a course of action with a 2-point help package to support our Ukrainian Toastmasters. 1, District 110 to submit a request to World Headquarters to use the Medley Fund financial resources to help the existing Ukrainian Toastmasters with their membership renewals for the period April to September 2022. This will conserve the current membership until the clubs can organise again Toastmasters activities in a safe environment. And I thought that was terrific. We'll come on to the Medley Fund later, but so that's something that Toastmasters is able to do from within its own resources. Let's go to the second point that is here. Recommend to all Toastmasters members in our district and around the world to donate to Medley Fund an amount of their choosing for the purpose stated in point 1. We will pursue point 1 very soon, and for point 2, we will come back soon with specific steps about how to do it. May God help our Toastmasters colleagues from Ukraine, and that's signed by the district director. I sent a message after that asking about what was known, and I wrote, does anyone know about the welfare of our members in Division B, areas 1 and 2? And they are areas 1 and 2 in Division B in the district. Is it possible that some of them are refugees, that some of them have had their lives shattered by the invasion? They are continuously on my mind and in the hearts of many Toastmasters. Any news? The district director replied, most of them are members of this group, and I hope they can post comments. I have some information, but it's 1 to 2 days old. And Lenka Landova said in the group, even Division C, Czechia, has one area director from Ukraine who brought his close family to Czech Republic, and everything is fine. So there's somebody bringing their family out of Ukraine to safety in Czech Republic, okay? They are organizing, bringing more extended family and friends too, thank goodness. Apparently, the biggest struggle isn't to get people into another country, females, children, seniors, but to have them here officially with permit and social security to allow access to healthcare. Hopefully, Czech Republic will get smoother in those areas as people are coming. And that's really, there's also a message then from Julia Trotsenko, and I don't know Julia, but here's what she has to say. Many people left their homes, many helping online, someone went to local forces, some people traveling for 20 to 30 hours to cross the border. We are trying to reach as many people as possible to help us stop this war. It's so seriously. I hope none of our fellow Toastmasters have been injured yet, but too many people are struggling. It's impossible, I think, be fair to say, to get any detailed information, but I could give you information about the clubs that we have in Ukraine. There are 9 clubs, and there's even one which is a pre-chartered club. Now, in Kyiv, the Dnipro Hills Club has 21 members, and they meet on a Sunday. Another club in the city is Chamber Toastmasters Club, and they have 20 members, and they meet on a Tuesday. And then there's another one called Art Talkers Club. They have 25 members, and they meet on Saturday mornings. There's a club, and I'm not sure where all of these clubs are. Friends Toastmasters Club has 20 members. Koma has 27. Svoya Rubashka has 9 members. Sunbees Toastmasters has 23 members. Best Odessa Speakers Club, which must be in Odessa, which is way down south, he has 16 members. And then there's a club called Changemakers, which has got 12. All I think that we can do as Toastmasters is contribute to the Medley Fund, which is something that probably most of you don't know anything about. We'll come on to that. But as individuals, of course, we have the ability to do whatever we want. So we have the ability, well, if you take the Irish government, it is offering up to 25,000 people from the Ukraine to come to Ireland, waiving all visa restrictions and, welcoming people from the Ukraine. And, people in Ireland can perhaps sometime in the future give over a bedroom in their house for a person or a family to stay in. But insofar as we as Toastmasters can do things, any club could, out of its own funds, it would have to be voted on by the members, could contribute to the Medley Fund. That's a legitimate activity for a Toastmasters club to do. I think it would need, well, I'm certain it would need a vote of its club members to authorize that type of a use of club funds. Any individual Toastmaster can do whatever they like. So the situation might be that maybe, Ted, if we could talk more about this, we could cover what the Medley Fund is about.
Yeah, and that brings, I'd like to share something that brings to mind with me something that a Stoic said 2,500 years ago, Paul. Thucydides, he laid this down as a law of geopolitics and, unfortunately, of life. The strong do what they can, while the weak struggle as they must. And that's what's happening now in Ukraine. And we also have in mind and in our hearts at this time, all the Ukrainian people that have come into our society over the many years. As you said earlier, Ukraine is a place we will all have ambitions to go on our holidays. I mean, war in Europe of this, do we not learn, or do some people not learn from the mistakes of the past? If you think,
Well, let us at least dedicate this episode that we have recorded, Ted, perhaps all the episodes that we record this particular week, to our members in Ukraine and their family, their friends, their work colleagues, their acquaintances, and all those who all of those people love.
Yeah, that's a good thought, Paul. And I think that brings episode 3 to a nice conclusion. And I just want to say to our Toastmasters out there listening to us, please come back again tomorrow, because we're going to carry on this conversation about our friends, our Toastmaster friends, their families, and all their associates, and all Ukrainians all around the world. We're with you all the way, and we're going to be speaking about this again in episode 4. So hopefully we'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, folks, overran just a wee bit, but I'm not going to complain too much.
Yeah, there was a long.
Oh, it's in the middle there, yeah.
It was in the middle. I thought I had everything ready.
Yeah, that's what happened. So yeah,
I had about 3 or 4 websites in front of me. The Toastmasters one, but I said, "Oh, look, I've got the Facebook group on my iPhone because I had it earlier, but then." The phone turned itself off and I had to turn it back on again.
All right, yeah.
All of that I had to do.
And it's hard then when you have so many sites open in front of you to pick out what you wanted to say,
I don't know, really.
Mario, throw me around the place there. I can see myself hopping onto your screen as a little Ted Melanfe.
Really?
Yeah, whatever you were doing there, my image here was being flown over into you as timer.
Weird. It's not me.
Ah, that's magic. You don't realise it, but you do magic tricks at times. Beam me up there, Scotty. Instead of beam me up there, Scotty, I'll be saying beam me across there, Moira.
Yeah, okay.
Ed, would you like me to invite you to the District 110 Facebook page or Facebook group?
I've just signed the talk show.
Oh, I do, Paul. Yeah, send that on to me. Sorry, Moira, what did you say?
I've just signed the talk show up to the page.
Oh, well done. Yeah, sign me up to that, Paul. Send it on to me.
That's done.
That's good. We don't know what the lines of communication would be, and if any of us can help out with whatever we can do, we'll do it.
You could sign me up as well, Paul, if you like.
Okay. Oh yeah, I will. Sorry, Maura. I forgot that you were just
Yeah.
on the page.
I'm
And
just a
Paul
pretty face.
and Moira, tomorrow night, I don't know what you said about this Medley fund, Paul, and that's a fantastic idea as well. But I don't know, we'll have to wait to see if Toastmasters International will run with that. Well, I don't see why they wouldn't. But the other thing is, tomorrow night we'll have an opportunity to make a donation, if we wish, on the Late Late Show.
Oh, I see. Are they doing that?
Yeah, they're doing that tomorrow night, and at least we know if it goes there, that the money will get into the right hands.
Well, the other thing that I discovered this morning is I went to Super Value to buy some food, and at the checkout they had a donate to the Red Cross in Ukraine.
Oh, fantastic! Yeah.
So you by tapping.
Oh, very good.
€2. So I contributed a bit of money. You can do it as often as you like, but so that's a kind of
That's fantastic. Yeah.
an interesting thing that Super Value have done.
That's brilliant.
I imagine a lot of Irish people are thinking about what can we do, you know?
Oh, yeah, and I have no doubt either, Paul, that even with regards to the likes of Super Value and some of these other retail giants around the place, they'll have people from Ukraine working behind the tills and stuff like that.
Oh,
I mean,
you can be
Ireland is a cosmopolitan country, you know, we have nationalities from all over the world, you know?
Yeah, you can be certain, Ted, that's absolutely, you know?
Definitely,
absolutely, you know? Yeah.
And I'm sure we have clubs in this, even in our area, Paul. I'm sure there are a couple of people in Bishopstown Toastmasters, members from Ukraine.
Well, it's funny you mentioned that, Ted. I'm glad you mentioned that because I was at a meeting in an open night. I was at a meeting in the Midlands of Ireland during the week where they had an open night. 4 clubs collaborated. And one of the people at the meeting, I think she may not be from Ukraine, but she's certainly from one of the Eastern European cities because we touched on it. She's a member of Bandon, and her name is Kate Meaun. Now, Meaun, and she has she speaks English with an Eastern European accent. So it's not like as if she's, you know, a partner is from Eastern Europe and she isn't. But yeah, so she's in Bandon Club. I don't know her at all. I thought she was actually speaking from Eastern Europe.
All right. But
so
maybe
she was there. Now I'm ready when you guys are.
Okay.
To I just
episode 4.
I just need one more thing. Just a second. I want to check something. Yeah, right. I'm ready when you are.
Okay, Ted, you're going to bring us in?
Okay, Moira.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hello, Toastmasters, would-be Toastmasters, listeners and friends. You're very welcome to episode 4 of this week's The Talk Show for Talkers on irishtalkers.com. And Paul and I are going to pick up the thread of where we finished yesterday. We were talking about our Toastmaster friends, their families and associates in Ukraine. So, Paul, you were speaking, and what you finished on, we can pick up again. You were talking about some of your contacts in the Ukraine, particularly the division director and some other members. And you mentioned that there are 9 clubs in Ukraine. And am I right when I say that 8 of those clubs are in Kyiv, in the capital, and one of the clubs is outside the capital?
Well, I'm not sure.
Odessa.
Yeah, I'm not
there's
sure.
2 clubs outside. There's 2 clubs.
Yeah, I didn't put in my notes exactly where all the clubs were, but the bulk of the clubs would be in Kyiv because it's the capital.
Yeah.
But I tell you, I mentioned the district director, so let me at least name check the division director, who is Ruslan Horcharov. And I know he lives in Moldova because we've had interaction about it. He's the division director. But one of the things I mentioned there, Ted, was a thing called the Ralph C. Smedley, the Smedley Fund, the Ralph C. Smedley Memorial Fund. And this is something that is relevant, much more relevant than I ever realized. I'd heard of it before, didn't think all that much about it, I must confess, but I've done a bit of digging to find out. And back in the 60s, the fund was set up to honor Ralph C. Smedley and his legacy, and to give an opportunity for the educational needs of people to be funded in some way. And it's funded a whole lot of different projects. But there are two big things two big strands. One is about youth outreach, and a youth leadership program is an example of what is, what you can request funds for, if you like. Okay. There's a whole area called emergency relief, and let me just quote you a little bit from the website. Disasters may strike without warning and can massively impact the lives and livelihoods of those affected. Clubs or districts that have lost Toastmasters related materials as a result of a disaster may request to be sent replacements at no charge. However, and this is, I think, relevant, that is not the limit. So I don't think it's limited to just, okay, if you lose a few banners and you lose a few booklets, that you can get help to replace them. Because the Smedley Fund application form that you fill out to get a membership, to get funding, has a paragraph on top of it. And it says, in recent years, many individuals have experienced economic challenges as a result of natural and man-made disasters. And we all know about that, don't we? Toastmasters International is prepared to provide relief to those suffering losses resulting from such disasters by covering the costs of their Toastmasters membership, both in terms of membership dues and the cost of replacement for damaged or destroyed materials. If your club has been profoundly affected by a natural or man-made disaster, you may submit an application for assistance by completing and submitting this form. And the form is very simple. It asks you to describe the disaster. So just thinking about Ukraine, I mean, that would not be easy. That would not be difficult for somebody to fill out a description of the disaster. I mean, that would be awfully easy. And then you're asked to tick whether you want to get your fees waived for 6 months or even for a year. And then you're asked to tick if you want to get your manuals, kits, workbooks, I would imagine, even your overhead projector, your slides, all the things you might need for a hybrid meeting. I'm sure they're all covered by that. Other kind of material. And there's another box which says other. So, and then you have to break down the costs, obviously, as you'd expect, total amount at the bottom, and you put your own name in and the membership. And I'm sure that's gone in the name of the, well, I don't know, the district director, but it's here. It can be a club president. This could happen anywhere in the world. The current or past district leader, the regional advisor, the international director, the past international president, and the current board of directors. So you put down all of those things, and it's essentially a one-page form.
And does the request have to come from the likes of the division director?
No.
In Ukraine?
No, not at all. You see, it's simply, the form is exactly like that, and you put your name and your identification number on it, and your membership number, and then you can be a club you have to say which one it is. A club president. So a club president, you could do it, president of a club.
Right.
it has a current or a past district leader. So it could be Daniel Sanders, it could be Brenda Lannon, it could be Elizabeth Jordan. Any one of our trio could do it. Our current regional advisor, that's Francesco Fidele. It could be last year's regional advisor, who's Pat Johnson.
Yes.
It could be the past international director, the past international president, or the board of directors. But the good thing is that, you know, we as individuals can subscribe to this fund.
Okay. Yeah.
And, you know, we also could do other things. You know, any of us could subscribe to the Red Cross.
Yes.
You know, we could apparently,
as people have been doing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm thinking about here actually is, as individuals, if we do it as individuals, are we not better off just having it coordinated so that there isn't a huge amount of requests going into Toastmasters for that assistance?
Well, there'll only be one request in effect related to, I imagine, in relation to Ukraine.
Okay.
I can't imagine. Do you think? I can't imagine all the individual clubs appealing for assistance. I would imagine that it would be the district director appealing for assistance for all of the 9 or 10.
Yes, yeah. Mm.
So I think that would be. Now, I'm not 100% sure of how I give money to the Ralph C. Smedley Fund.
Is it not on the form there? Was the information on the form?
Actually, do you know what? I'm a bit silly sometimes, Ted. You're absolutely right. No, it's on the website.
Or something, yeah.
It's on the website here, and it says donate as an individual.
Okay.
It's also got a button that says donate as an organization. Now, as an organization, I mean, we as a podcasting team, we are an organization. So in theory, I mean, I know we're not a corporate company, but basically, you know, we could as individuals, and I'm quite sure we could just, but if we do it if a club did it, and, you know, after a suitable vote, it asks for the club's identification number, the name of the relevant person, and the amount of the donation, which you can keep anonymous or you can make public. And it also says it gives the ability to contribute, to say what your money is going for.
That's interesting. That's important, I think, to be specific that it's for our Toastmaster colleagues in the Ukraine.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think isn't it good for us to use this podcast to publicize this?
Definitely, yeah. We wouldn't be speaking about it otherwise, Paul. This is part of the publicization that we're going on with. This is how we're going to touch other Toastmasters and tell them, look, we're looking for solidarity on this, that we hope people are doing the right thing and doing what they feel is right by donating to the fund of our Toastmaster colleagues in Ukraine, to make sure that they're not going to lose their membership or anything, because people in Ukraine at the moment probably can't even get money out of the bank, can they? I don't know.
Well, oh, look, I don't know. It depends on which day's news you've listened to.
Yeah, and I mean,
news source. The other thing, though, for listeners really is here, the members of Toastmasters, we're all a member of a club somewhere.
Yes.
It means that we all have the opportunity as an individual member to bring it to the attention of our club committee and ask our club committee to perhaps make it possible for the club to give some money. I mean, the club, there'd be no obligation. The treasurer couldn't just
I know that. We'd have to
off money. And, you know, some clubs mightn't have any money, but I think it would be a very good thing, any clubs that you may or any of the listeners are in, for at least us to raise awareness
No, I agree with you. Even if we were to say at a club meeting that, look, we're looking for some kind of a donation, financial donation towards a fund to make sure that our Toastmasters colleagues in Ukraine are supported.
Well, I think the one thing I would suggest is that we think very carefully about the way in which we phrase it.
Yes, of course.
Because you see, if the club president comes out and says, we're looking for you to donate, that's not it. It would be better if the club president said to the club members, I think, how would you all feel about us, say, using some of our club funds, which we have, let's say, a modest amount of them. How would you feel if we had a little discussion about this?
Yeah, okay.
And in the discussion, it could be done this way. It could be done by saying to everyone who is present, look, every one of you have a veto right.
Yes.
We did something in Toastmasters for Golf where in that club where
that was very good. Yeah,
I put a notice out to all the members saying, how would you feel about dedicating the meeting to our members in Ukraine? And I said, well, look, everybody has a veto right. So if even one person says no, we won't do it.
Yes. Yeah.
But 100% of the members were in favor of doing it. So I wouldn't want to divide the club over the issue in any way. Like, it would be pretty, it wouldn't be a good thing if the club voted in favor of donating money and some people voted against.
No, I agree with you. I agree with you there. You'll have to do it democratically. I mean, that's the whole objective of it. We want to help. We don't want to hinder.
Because everyone can do their own thing individually then.
And everybody is affected by this. If the freedom of one of our colleagues is taken away, we might be next. You know, the freedom is, we're so lucky to be in the country that we're in. But Ukrainians could have been saying that to themselves a fortnight ago, not knowing exactly, because nobody believed what was going to happen would actually happen. But it has happened, and we're watching it on television. For God's sake, it's real. It's not fantasy at all. It's actually happening as we're speaking.
And we're all in Region 10.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
And I have to flag up. I just want to name check one other person, and his name is Kurt.
Oh, yes.
Kurt. Yeah. And he's a member of District 59. Now, 59 is Scandinavia and Germany.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure, Sweden, all those. But he's been playing a sterling role in Region 10 by, linking people together and publicizing things.
Superb, yeah.
He's one of the best connected people I know in Europe for...
he's very proactive in Toastmasters International, yeah.
And he has a lot of contacts, and I'm pretty sure, I can't quite remember that I even sent him a message and said, by the way, do you know who the district director is? Because I didn't. But,
right.
So look, I think that's all we can do.
Well, that's good, yeah. And our thoughts, our prayers, and our feelings are with the people of Ukraine, and especially our Toastmaster colleagues. So we hope that the next time we come back, that they might have more positive news. So we'll see you all again next week. It's goodbye from me, Ted, and it's goodbye from
Paul. Bye-bye.
And thank you to Moira in the background for doing all the technological stuff. See you next week. Bye.
Yeah, very good, Ted. Very
well
good.
done, Paul. I'm just thinking, actually, should we publish this tomorrow?
Well, I think it would be the sooner we publish it.
I think so too. Because
on the other hand, we have to have some consideration for Moira because...
Yeah, well, we'll ask Moira. That's why I said it there. Moira will tell us whether we can or not. Because I think if we go to next week, there might be some completely different picture next week.
Well, this would normally go out on Sunday and Monday, but if Moira thought
it wouldn't go out it won't go out until the following week, Paul. No, it's not this Sunday and Monday. It's Sunday and Monday week.
No, Ted, it goes out this Sunday and Monday.
And what about episode 1 and episode 2?
Episode 1 goes out tomorrow. Episode 2.
Oh, I thought it was always going a week after, Mara.
No, we haven't done that. We did that maybe for a couple of weeks.
Oh, sorry, no, it was full show because we interviewed someone there recently, and I said, you won't hear yourself tomorrow, you'll hear yourself next week. Just sorry about that. Oh, that's good that it's going out tomorrow. So that means that is, what's the word?
What's the word?
It'll be, if we don't do anything different, it'll be Sunday and Monday.
Yeah, that's the 3 and 4 will be Sunday, Monday, and the other 1 and 2 are tomorrow and Saturday. Yeah. That's good.
The suggestion you gave, Moira, which I entirely think is
contemporaneous, Moira is the word.
Let's say goodbye to YouTube, and then we can chat amongst ourselves again.
Oh, yes, sorry about that, Jan.
That's okay.
Bye, you.